Self-protection and self-preservation is a major part of self-love. A lot of people, they don't love themselves. And because they don't love themselves, when you love yourself, it triggers them. Cliche, right? Yeah, I know. A lot of times when it comes to the subject of self-love, it's so corny when you hear people talk about So when someone messages me some crazy toxic situation they have going on, I leave them with one sentence, and that is, do you love yourself? And I want you to go to bed tonight and think about that question that I asked you. Someone loves themselves, there are things that are not allowed in their life when you love yourself. There are things that people do because they don't love themselves. There are certain activities that people engage in because they don't love themselves. There are certain things they allow because they don't love themselves. So the number one sign to see if someone loves themselves and also if they love other people is paying attention to what they allow. Hello guys, welcome back to Your Level Up Guru. If you are not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. If you have not liked this video, go ahead and do that. What are you waiting on? So today we're going to talk about, do you love yourself? Cliche, right? Yeah, I know. A lot of times when it comes to the subject of self-love, it's so corny. When you hear people talk about self-love and the self-love quotes, it's pretty corny. But I thought, let me make a video on do you love yourself to really deep dive on signs that you actually love yourself and signs on if another person loves themselves. Because people who do not love themselves are very dangerous people. Misery loves company. If someone does not love themselves, if someone does not love themselves, they will come into your life and make you miserable because they don't like themselves. So it's important to know if you like yourself and also to be able to identify if another individual likes themselves. Because people who don't like themselves tend to do very unhinged things to people. Okay, so let's go deep dive into that. Do you love yourself? Number one, you know if you love yourself or if someone loves themselves based on what they allow. A lot of times women will send me emails, and men, about certain situations, like long paragraphs. And I will respond a simple question. Do you love yourself? Question mark. And a lot of them will be like, what does me loving myself have to do with my question? Or sometimes on our chats, our private sessions, people will tell me, well, what does that question have to do with what I shared with you? And I tell them, when someone loves themselves, there are things that are not allowed in their life when you love yourself. There are things that people do because they don't love themselves. There are certain activities that people engage in because they don't love themselves. There are certain things they allow because they don't love themselves. So the number one sign to see if someone loves themselves and also if they love other people is paying attention to what they allow. For example, with me, I don't allow disrespect. I don't allow people to treat me badly. So because there are certain things that are unacceptable for me. There are certain people who will tell you, or people who know me personally or family, they'll tell you that I'm stern. I'll get called stern, or I'll get called strict. Or for people who don't know me, I'll get called the female dog, right? Because I love myself and I will not allow myself to be disrespected, used, or mistreated by anybody. It's nothing personal to the other person. It's, I know the pact that I made with myself. I know the things I've been through in my past, and I promised myself that I'm never going through that again. And I will never let myself get that low in life again at the hands of another human being. So that's why, because I love myself, I don't allow certain things. So when someone messages me some crazy toxic situation they have going on, I leave them with one sentence, and that is, do you love yourself? And I want you to go to bed tonight and think about that question that I asked you. What is your definition of self-love? And they'll be like, well, what do you mean? And sometimes it'll be a woman, oh, what do you mean? I'm like, if you had a daughter, would you want your daughter to be in the situation that you're in? No. Okay, so then why do you think it's acceptable for you to be in that situation? You love your daughter. You want the best for your daughter, which is why you wouldn't want that situation for her. But yet you have it for yourself. A lot of you guys who are parents, you need to work on loving yourself and what you accept and what you allow. Because what you accept and what you allow, you are going to be the model for your child. So if I sit here and I accept disrespect and bad treatment, I'm teaching my daughter that the way that man treated me is okay. Or the way that family member treated me is okay. Or the way that that person spoke to me is okay. Because kids are like sponges. They're always soaking in what they see. So self-love is understanding that you are not going to accept certain things or certain treatments because you love yourself. And you know if someone else loves themselves based on what they accept as well. Which brings me to point number 2. I know if you love yourself or if someone else loves themselves based on how they present themselves. Self-presentation is important. I feel like if you love yourself, you will take care of yourself. You will work out. You will eat healthy. You will ensure that you are in the healthiest state possible. You will shower and clean yourself up and make sure that your presentation make sure that your presentation is right. So when I see somebody who does not take care of themselves physically, I know that they are lacking in some area of self-love. Okay, because if you love yourself, you want to look your best, feel your best, smell your best, and have the best, really. A lot of people, they don't love themselves. And because they don't love themselves, when you love yourself, it triggers them. Which is why this video is not just about signs that you love yourself. It's also about signs if someone else loves themselves. Because people who do not love themselves go into other people's lives and turn it into a freaking circus. So it's important to pay attention to how someone feels about themselves, because they are going to project how they feel about themselves onto you. And I don't want no unhappy people around me, okay? Because I want my life to be a celebration. So I don't want unhappy people around me, because they're going to come around me and try to rain on my parade. And I'm not having that. So, yes, you know if someone loves themselves or if you love yourself based on the way that you present yourself. Number 3, you know if you love yourself or if someone loves themselves based on how they treat others. I meet so many people who are like, oh, I love myself. I love life. I love myself. Okay, so then why are you such a nasty person if you claim that you love yourself? No, you do not. I know how someone I know if someone likes themselves based on how they treat others. People who treat others like trash feel like they are trash. Even if they're good at hiding it in the mirror, when they look at their reflection, they hate what they see. And they go into the world and they treat other people the same. They're disrespectful, nasty, arrogant, narcissistic, because internally that is what's going on in their bodies. Mean girls don't like themselves. I promise you they don't. Mean women who are, and let me touch on that for a second. Let's not confuse mean with stern. Because a lot of women, that's a subject for another time. I am stern. A lot of women will confuse me being stern with being mean. Because women are very hyper fixated on being liked. Because they don't understand that being respected will always trump being liked. Because the same person who cheers you on will nail you to the cross. That's how people are. So if you go through life worried about being liked, you're going to have a very difficult life, because being liked is an emotion that can change over time. Being respected is a standard. You know, when someone has to respect you, it's a standard that can't be changed depending on how they feel about you. The respect still has to be there. So I'm more concerned with being respected. I don't care to be liked, because people will dislike you for the dumbest things, because of the car you drive, because you have a healthy relationship. Like, if I was concerned about being liked, I wouldn't be following my dreams, and neither would you. So I always tell women, like, you know, how you treat others is a representation of how you feel about yourself. When I meet a woman who's mean, angry, bitter, competitive, jealous, I know that she hates herself. She may not say that she hates herself. She may not look like she hates herself from the outside, but internally she hates herself, because that is the negative way in which she treats other people. Okay? So, yes. All right. So the next thing is, do you love yourself? Do you do therapy and work on your self-esteem? And do other people do therapy and work on their self-esteem? That's a sign on if someone loves yourself. And if you don't do therapy and work on your self-esteem, this is your time or your sign to do so. And then you meet people who are like, oh, well, I don't need therapy. You saying you don't need therapy means you need therapy. Okay? Everybody needs a therapist, somebody to talk to, someone to hold you accountable for your actions and to help you grow as an individual. Oh, well, you know, I do therapy, you know, at my religious organization. That's not therapy, honey. That's a mentor. But they are not psychologically trained on helping you with your mental health. Okay? Let's not confuse a spiritual advisor or a spiritual leader or a church mentor with a therapist who is psychologically trained to screen you if you have problems to ensure the well-being of your life. Let's not, they're both needed and beneficial, but let's not, you need to see a therapist, somebody who is licensed to screen you to ensure that you are in your mental health is in a healthy state. There are a lot of people who have passed away at the hands of SI, psychological term, I don't know if I could even say that online, psychological term for suicide ideation, who had a mental health disorder underlying that somebody did not know about. I remember I had a family member of mine who passed away at the hands of SI. And the first question that I asked, and this is when I first started studying psych, I was asking my questions, my family, I was like, did this person ever have undiagnosed bipolar 1 or 2? Did this person have BPD? And me coming from the islands, my family's like, girl, what are you talking about? A lot of times people who have mental disorders that are not diagnosed tend to take their life, and people think they were just depressed, but their depression was a result of an underlying psychological condition. So that's why I'll never understand why religious institutions don't take psychology seriously, and they actually bash it. And I've noticed that when you go to a religious institution and they hear the word psych, it's like a death sentence to them, because they're so hyper fixated that having a spiritual advisor is enough. It's not. Some of you guys need to be on meds, and some of you guys need to have extensive therapy to heal your wounds. If you suffer with addiction, yes, there are spiritual leaders who can break that off of you, but you also need some type of psychological advisor to make sure that you are staying on the right path. Okay? So I know if someone loves themselves, or if you love yourself, if you have a therapist, and if you are working on your self-esteem. The next thing is, stop asking if they like you and ask if you like them. People who do not like themselves are constantly concerned about how other people feel about them. People who have low self-esteem care about what people think. Which is why when people meet me and I say I don't care about what people think, they think that I'm arrogant or narcissistic. I genuinely don't care about what people think, because people don't think. People are seeing other people from their own lens of trauma and insecurity. So if I care about what other people think, that means that I'm putting my happiness in the hands of a human being and not in the hands of God, which is also disrespectful to God if you care about what people think. Because people don't think, and people have their own traumas that they're dealing with, and they take it out on other people, and then you will take what they think of you personally. I have people who say I'm this, I'm that, I'm mean. I get called mean. I get called, you know, unfriendly, cold. Those people don't know me. They're just going based on their first impression of me. You don't know me, you know. You can't expect people to just open up to you when you just meet them. That's not real life. And people who have intelligence don't just open up to people because they know people can't be trusted right away. So I know if somebody likes themselves based on how concerned they are about what other people think about them. If you are over-consumed with what other people think about you, it's going to be very difficult for you to live that happy life that God has for you when you're over concerned about with what other people think about you. Like, I have people who comment on my TikTok who say, and they say, oh, you clearly don't like yourself because you wear hair extensions. You clearly don't like yourself because you wear nails. Or it's like, I don't care. I don't care about what you say. I have people who comment on my YouTube videos. They say, oh, you look like a man. Like, do you think I chuckle at stuff like that. Like, you guys have to learn that people have a mouth and they are going to use it to say whatever. People will just have an opinion. Just because someone has an opinion on you doesn't mean it has to matter to you. I value opinions of people that are close to me and people who love me and people who are important. I don't care about how a stranger who's not a direct part of my life feels about me, because you're not important. And if you were important to me, you would be a part of my life, which you're not. So how you feel is not valid, at least not to me. So last but not least is to love yourself is to protect yourself. This is a big one. Self-protection and self-preservation is a major part of self-love. To protect yourself is to love yourself. If you love yourself, you will protect yourself. If you love yourself, you will not put yourself in compromising situations that can result in you possibly getting hurt physically, mentally, or emotionally. Self-preservation is key to self-love. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, of course, like, comment, subscribe, share. Visit my website, yourlevelupguru.net. Follow me on all of my socials, okay? And do not forget to book a girl chat.